Hi there, my name is Amin Bashi. I'm the co-founder and the chief product officer at Bloom. Today, I'm speaking about how we can use our product sense to design for augmentation, not automation, and why it's so important for all of us as product leaders to think about user augmentation every time we are designing an AI-powered product. I'll be using a lot of real-world examples and what we learned along the way as we built many different AI-powered products, and what were the things that kind of came along the way that some of them we kind of learned them the hard way. And I'm hoping by sharing those with you today, you'll be able to use those to avoid making the same mistakes and be able to build better AI-powered products and be able to leverage these to apply them to what you do and what you build and how you bring your products to the market. I recently wrote a book on this, also titled Design for Augmentation, Not Automation. And it's focused on how to design and build products that augment human intelligence. Right now, more than ever, the world is evolving as fast as some of us had ever seen before. And the COVID-19 pandemic that we're going through is changing a lot of our different interactions and the systems that we are building and how different companies and different corporations think about product management and think about innovation and think about bringing their products to the market. And we are seeing a broader shift more than ever before towards automation and using artificial intelligence to automate a lot of the tasks that used to be done by humans, a lot of the decision-making that used to be done by humans. And because of this, the economy right now is under a lot of pressure to focus on automation. And this book and this presentation, which I'll cover a lot of things that are covered in the book today, is focusing on why it's so important to focus on augmentation. And instead of replacing a human that is making a decision, coaching them to augment the decision-making skills and make them a better decision maker. Because as a whole, that has a much bigger and better impact on the economy than replacing that individual from the entire system. We'll talk about that and how we as product leaders can play a massive role in this broader shift that we're seeing. And I'm hoping by the end of this talk, we can all walk away with these 5 key learnings. We need product and design leaders that have a strong product sense to be able to harness the power of AI. We as product leaders need to fall in love with the problem, not the AI algorithm and the solutions that our data scientists and our even designers have fallen in love with. And the next time we are designing a new feature, we need to think about how AI can or cannot augment the experience and be the voice in the room, in that boardroom, to say that and to share that and mention that not every problem requires machine learning to be solved. Not every problem is an ML or an AI problem. And we as product leaders can and should use our product thinking to build better AI-powered products. And last but not least, how we as product leaders can leverage our product sense to use artificial intelligence to augment human intelligence, something that has a much bigger impact on the economy as a whole and also on our company's success than automation and automating tasks that are done by humans. So for those of you who are not familiar with product sense is the ability to consistently build for value. And as product leaders, whether we know it or not, and whether you've realized it before or not, you're relying on your product sense every single day to make the right decisions for your users. You focus on your users and you know that everything else will follow. And that product sense that you're demonstrating every single day, it entails creativity, domain knowledge, intuition, reasoning, and most importantly, empathy. And that's how product sense can bring a lot of value to artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence has this power that can be harnessed and can be utilized and can be harnessed in a really great way. But that requires product leaders that can use their product sense to identify the right methods and the right channels that they can use AI to bring value to the economy and to the company and to the product. And today, our AI is accelerating faster than ever before. And with that, there's a new class of problems that we're facing, and that's a human problem. Something that, at least not yet, the AI and machine learning models that we have built cannot address or cannot solve. And that's where use product sense and empathy and understanding the first principles and the human values can play a massive role in making a better world and making better products. And this is a saying from Josh, who's a UX designer at Google, that I always think about and always remind myself of when he essentially talks about the importance of understanding the problem and being aligned with a human need. And the fact that if you're not aligned with that human need, we will end up building really powerful systems to address a very small and a lot of times non-existent problems. And this is why we need strong product leaders with strong product sense to solve meaningful problems and come up with meaningful solutions to those problems. And turning the AI research that we have, which has been done, again, AI is not a new concept. It's been around for a really long time. It's just that we are now using thanks to the computational power that we have and the sheer volume of data sets that we have, we can really see the value and the benefit of the models and the research that has been done in the past. But we have a great set of AI researchers. But what's not being done yet and hasn't been done as well is turning that into products that customers want to buy, can get value from, and can rely on. And with that, we need better product leaders. We don't need more researchers, we need more AI-centric products. And we'll talk about that. We'll talk about what these AI-centric products are and why they're so important to the economy and what we do and how we build our systems. But it's more than ever before, it's really about time to focus on building the right set of products that augment human intelligence and can empower us to do more by relying on our AI models. And we've seen these AI models all the time, right? So like you've seen these machine learning models in every product that you pretty much use, from Netflix to Spotify, to Google search. The examples of machine learning AI are everywhere. And some of these additions do augment our intelligence and augment us to be able to be better users and be able to do more. And the others don't. And we'll talk about it. We'll talk about the differences and which ones do that effectively and which ones don't. But again, as product leaders, the first thing we need to start with, and the starting point for anything is understanding what problem our product is facing. But sadly, right now, due to the pressure that we are getting from different external resources and also from different sources, a lot of companies have started focusing on, machine learning and AI as a starting point. We should never ask this question the other way around. It's always about what problem is my product facing, and then would it be a good problem for machine learning? And the answer is that. And the reality is that not every problem is an AI or ML problem. This is a great example of that. So if I were to send an email, and I'm sure all of you have seen this before, think of the last time you were sending an email to a friend or a colleague, and in the email you said, please see the attachment, but you didn't attach anything in your email. Gmail would show you something like this. It seems like you forgot to attach a file. And this is something, again, Gmail could build an AI model to detect that, but it would be an overkill. Heuristics work great here, right? You just need a rule-based system that checks for the words like attach, attachment, attaching, and why not, and can, based on that, then can see if there's an attachment added to the email. And if it's not the case, it just reminds the user, like, hey, it seems like you wanted to attach something to your email, but you didn't do that. Again, if you don't have strong product leaders with a strong product sense, your data science team and your engineers might end up building a machine learning model to solve this problem. But it's an overkill, and it's not creating nearly as much value as an AI, as a simple rule-based system like this one does. And it would be a waste of your resources and the input you're putting into the system for the output that you're getting. So how can we shift our thinking from technology first to people first? Product thinking is the glue that contextualizes the technical capabilities of AI in order to build meaningful solutions and customer experiences. And right now, with the hype around AI and machine learning, many product teams, unfortunately, are jumping right into product strategies that start with machine learning as a solution, and they skip over focusing on a meaningful problem to solve. And it's easy to say, hard to execute. Fall in love with the problem, not the solution. That's something that every single product leader, we all have to hold each other accountable for when we see this is not happening. Because again, it's really easy to say. I'm sure you all agree with now. You walk away with it and you be like, yes, that makes sense. But it's really hard to execute on. As humans, we tend to fall in love with our ideas. We tend to fall in love with the solutions that we have. And that leads to your data science teams and your engineering teams and your design teams falling in love with all the solutions that your team comes up with. But as product leaders, it's our job, it's our responsibility to hold our team accountable for falling in love with the problem, not the solution. And product thinking is what that aims to solve real problems by building meaningful solutions. And that's the only way we can really leverage our product sense and product thinking to build more valuable products that create more value for our users, for our company, and for the economy. And by relying on that, we can identify the real problems, the real issues that we can address. And by doing that, we can find out how we can use augmentation and augmenting our users' capabilities to address that problem in the most impactful way and creating a maximum amount of value instead of defaulting to automation and automating your tasks. So a good example of that is focusing on, instead of making every decision for your users and automating all the decisions they have to make in your product, understand what the problems are, what are the decisions that they're making today that's affecting the workflow and slowing them down, and then coach those users to be able to make better decisions and be able to apply the augmented experience you've created for them to be able to build better products that your users can get more value from. And this is very heavily tied to the idea of building better photographers, not better cameras. Instead of building better cameras, you can have the most expensive camera in the world. It can be fully automated. But if you don't have the right photographer to find the right, the right angle, the right setting to take the photo, you'll never end up with those incredible photos that great photographers manage to capture. So instead of focusing on automation and automating everything, focus on your users, focus on you leveraging your product sense to understand how we can build better photographers, rather than focusing too much on the automation aspect of things. And the reality, and this is something we learned, is that building an AI-centric product is really hard. But what makes your product so hard to build allows you to be able to create this competitive mode that makes it really hard for your competitors to be able to compete with you. Automation is not that hard, believe it or not. Augmentation is really difficult because it requires you to really understand who your users are, what their capabilities are, and how you can augment those capabilities. And again, we'll talk about this, and we have some examples that really helps you to see how they can be applied to a real product. And AI-centric product management, again, it's not about adding cool AI-powered features. It's about creating an entirely new AI-centric product experiences. And that requires product sense and requires product thinking. So let me give you a real-world example, as I promised, of a real-world case study of how we did this to build an augmented product that solved the real problem. So back in between 2014 and 2017, there were tons of players and tons of social media aggregators in the market that they aggregated all the content from Facebook, Google, Instagram, and they put it in one place for destination marketing organizations to go to that platform and find the photos of all the people who have traveled to a destination and be able to find the greatest photos or videos and promote those and share those to advertise their destination. So, for example, Travel San Francisco used our platform back in 2019 to aggregate all the photos that were people posting when they travel to San Francisco on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter, on all these different channels, and then finding the best photos that people had shared to use those in a marketing collateral to showcase all the great things that San Francisco has to offer. And we realized at that point that it was really hard to compete with all these 16 players. There were 16 players doing exactly the same thing, and all around the world, from San Francisco to New York to Sydney, and we found that we need to do things differently. We need to focus on something that can create an immense amount of value for our end users. And between 2017 and 2018, we started building the world's first AI-powered visual marketing platform for the travel and tourism industry. And this was interesting because we had competitors prior to this that had tried to automate what we wanted to augment. So what they automated for the travel and tourism industry was that we had a competitor in San Francisco, and they had raised their Series A. And what they did, and the way they went about trying to differentiate themselves from these other 16 players, was that they decided to use artificial intelligence to decide what photos to post to Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and do that automatically for Travel San Francisco. And they essentially work with Travel San Francisco, and that was their proposal to them. They were like, you're getting all these photos from Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. It takes you forever to find the right photos to post. We'll just use AI, we use tagging to understand what are the elements and objects in these photos, what's the quality of each photo. And based on that, we'll just post these photos for you to your social channels and share that with your followers. And what happened was that they ended up selecting the photos that were not the worst. Some from are pretty good photos, but the problem was that they were not on brand. AI and machine learning, sometimes for AI and AI models, it takes a really long time for them to learn what is an on-brand photo and something that it's a great photo for a brand to share on social media. And that didn't work out for them really well. So what we did, we said, instead of automating that and just posting these photos for the companies that we work with, we're going to augment their experience and we're going to augment their decision making. It's hard for a human to find the right photo to post. We are going to help them to find the right photos, and then we're going to allow them to be the ones in charge of posting these photos to social media, so that they're always, every photo that's posted, it's on brand, it's what they want, and there are not going to be any surprises. And that worked really well. We became the #1 visual marketing platform for all the destination marketing organizations all around the world. And we managed to be able to raise our Series A, even though we had some platform dependencies on Instagram, and we were heavily using Instagram's API and Facebook's API and Google's API, but managed to be able to do that. And we went from 90 destination marketing organizations in 3 countries to 720 destination marketing organizations in 38 countries by just focusing on, again, augmentation and not doing what our competitors were doing, heavily focused on automation. And what we learned along the way was that what we needed to do differently, and what helped was going back to our product fundamentals and focusing on the most important problems to solve. We spend time with our users. We really spend time to understand what the problems are. How can we augment what they do today? Instead of just be like, well, we know what they're doing at a high level, and we understand that all these tasks that they're taking, let's just automate all they do, and we're gonna make that into a product. That's what competitors do. Didn't work. What we did, we said, we're going to really get into the details of what they do. What are the things that are important to them? What are the jobs to be done? What are the things that they really care about? And based on that, define a solution that uses artificial intelligence to augment their capabilities. And with more than 95 million photos and videos uploaded to Instagram every day, and for destinations like Travel San Francisco or Travel New York City or Destination Canada that are getting millions of photos, every day, it's really hard for them to be able to find the right photo at the right time. And what we did, we developed that AI model based on that learning, based on our understanding, and we help them to be able to, by tagging these photos for them, by removing the not safe for work type of content and removing, spammy and scammy type of content, we allow them to be able to see what matters and be able to find the right photo and publish the right photo every single time. And this is what we saw when we were working with them. We found out that they were going through this process of looking at their Instagram posts. This is what they're seeing as a user, and they had to figure out they wanted to find this photo, and that was really hard to do. Or they wanted to, and some of these photos don't have the right caption. They couldn't search just for the text they were looking for. If just a flag or just an emoji, it's really hard to find the right photo every time. Or if the users are not, the caption has nothing to do with the photo, it was really hard for them to be able to search based on the caption to find these photos on Instagram. And what we did, we realized that we can use image recognition to tag all the photos, to tag all the videos that we are getting from social channels, and then allow them to also and pass them through this quality check to help them with the smart curation and find and show them the greatest photos that they have, and then giving them an intelligent search so then they can find the photos they're looking for and entirely augment their experience using our platform. And again, we took that and we continued with that. So we did object detection with Vision AI powered by Google. And then we did use similar photos to help these marketers, again, to augment their ability to be able to find more similar photos to the one that they found. Then we provided content, we've provided content-based recommendation to, again, recommend them more photos like the ones that they've already liked. And we helped them to find trends. Again, that was something that was really hard for them to do manually, but we learned that we can use AI to identify trends for our marketers and help them to be able to see those ahead of time. And the lessons that we learned along the way were that we cannot expect machine learning to figure out what problems to solve. We still need product leaders with strong product sense to do that. The data we're collecting is really important in the quality of the machine learning models we built. If we don't garbage in, garbage out, we really need to focus on the quality of the data that's inputted into our AI models. And 80% of the work, like any other product management work, happens after the first version ships. It requires a lot of iteration, it requires a lot of product sense and product thinking to make the product work and create value. And we need to fake it with earlier users and use Wizard of Oz testing and fake doing and other methods to really help to validate the idea as fast as we can, and making sure that at any point we are creating valuable solutions for our end users. And we are responsible for weighing the costs of false positives and false negatives. Again, as product leaders, we need to be very involved with every AI-powered product. We cannot just leave it up to the data science team to manage that. We need to be involved to make sure, again, our users are getting the greatest product experience along the way, and they're really leveraging, we are really helping them to be able to augment their experience. And when we are building these AI-powered products, we need to think about how AI can or cannot augment the experience. AI cannot always augment the experience, but when it can really help your users to get significantly more value from your offerings. And we need to teach our algorithms using the right labels. It's really important to have strong product leaders that know their users, understand the users, and they can be involved with the labeling of your models to make sure that your data science teams are not coming up with imaginary labels for these products, and they're actually using real world examples and real world cases of how your users use your product to label your algorithms. And machine learning is a creative process. It's as scientific as it is, it's also very creative. And again, that's where we need designers and product managers involved in the process to make sure that we are making the greatest product decisions as we are building these AI-powered products. And it's not just for engineers. Everyone is to get involved to make sure that we are building the most powerful and most augmented product experiences. And we need to fall in love with the problem, not the AI algorithm, to make sure that we are creating the greatest amount of value for our end users. And by building these AI systems with users in mind, we are opening up an entire new areas of development and opportunities for building people-centric AI systems. Google's Smart Reply team did this really well to recognize that the users spend a lot of time replying to emails, and a product that can predict likely responses can save them time, can augment the user's experience. It's not automating what they do. It's not automating what they're typing. It's helping them to do that faster and be a lot more efficient than they would without that sidekick, without that AI model. And another example is Google Photos, similar to CrowdRiff and what we did. They found out the business problem is to find a specific photo by keyword search without manually tagging all the objects and all the things that are in the photo. So they're using AI to augment the user experience and to create more value for the end users. We need product and design leaders that have strong product sense. And that's, I believe, one of the most effective ways to harness the power of AI. We need to fall in love with the problem, not the AI algorithm. And the next time you're designing a new feature, we really need to think about how AI can or cannot augment the experience. And we need to make sure, as AI product leaders, we are involved with every single step of the product development and do not leave things up to our data science teams to decide how to handle low performance scenarios or failures. We are the ones that are responsible for the product experience, and everything that interacts with the users, everything that touches our users on a user level is something that's our responsibility. And we need to make sure that that is aligned with our product values and our product experiences that we want to create. And last but not least, really important to think about how we can leverage our product sense to use artificial intelligence to augment human intelligence. The world can be a better place with all of us involved in building these AI models and these AI-powered products. And by using our product sense and product thinking, we can make sure that we're building better, more powerful, and more effective products that are not only focused on automation, but they're built to augment human intelligence. Thank you for listening to me and watching this. I really appreciate your time. Really enjoyed doing this. I would love to, if you have any questions, if there's anything I can answer, and if you'd like to connect with me, please do so. And I look forward to hopefully meeting you all in person at the conference next year. Thank you again, and I'll talk to you soon. Thank you.